Shalom Aleichem Rabotai, this is Rabbi Kovacs, and Mishnah Yomi is continuing today on this last day of Nisan in the 9th chapter of Pesachim, Mishnah number 6. It's been an amazing Nisan to be learning Pesachim every day in Nisan, the Chodesh Aviv, the Chodesh of Pesach, Baruch Hashem. It's a very good schus. And now we're continuing, Mishnah Vav, Amar Rabbi Yehoshua, Shemati Temurah of Pesach Reva. Rabbi Yehoshua says, I heard that the exchange of a Pesach could be offered. Now, a Temurah is when someone has a korban, he has a sacrificial offering, and he says, you know what, I want this other animal, the second animal, to be in place of it. Now, there's a pasuk in Vayikra, chapter 27, verse 10, that this is asur. You can't do this. But if he did this, then both animals have a degree of sanctity. However, sometimes the Temurah sanctity, the second animal, isn't quite, sanctified enough to become an offering in its own right. So Yeshua says, I heard that a Temurah Pesach, in exchange, the second animal could be brought. Then he adds, Temurah Pesach, Eina Kreva. And I also heard it can't be brought. Ainli Lefarish. And I can't explain a chiluk here, why sometimes it would and sometimes it wouldn't. Amar Rabbi Akiva, his Talmud Rabbi Akiva steps up on the Yafarish. I can explain the difference. Ha-Pesach, shenimsa kodem shechita Pesach, a backup Pesach, which is found before the shechita of the real Pesach. So what happened here was he lost the korban Pesach. So Mary had a little lamb, but it got away before Pesach. So what did Mary do? She went and she got a replacement. So the first one went missing, and she went and bought a replacement Pesach, and that is something that's allowed to do. But then they found the original little lamb before they slaughtered the backup, the secondary one. So now the original little lamb was rejected. It's nidche, it's pushed off because they replaced it. So what's the din? The Mishnah says, Yireh, it goes out to pasture, ad sheyistoiv, until it gets a mum, a blemish that disqualifies it from being a korban, vayamacher, and then once it has a blemish, you can sell it. V'yikach b'damav, but the money has sanctity, so you have to buy with that money shlamim, peace offerings. V'chen tmurato, and it's the same din by the Temurah. So if they made a Temurah, a replacement, they said the second animal is going to be a korban Pesach in exchange for the first one. The first one wasn't even lost in this Temurah case, so then it would be the same din. If the Temurah was, they're both available, the Temurah, the second animal, can't be brought. It doesn't have enough sanctity to be brought, so it has to go out and get a mum and be sold, and you bring shlamim with the money. But the animal itself, the Temurah itself, can't be offered. So Rabbi Akiva adds, Achar Shechita Pesach, so if they only find the original animal after they shechted the backup, Karev Shlamim, then the original wasn't really pushed aside because it wasn't available at the time, so we could actually offer it as a Shlamim. We've seen that the leftover korban Pesach could become a Shlamim, and Pesach is actually sort of a specific kind of a Shlamim. And then Rabbi Akiva concludes, V'chen Temurato, it would be the same din by a Temurah. So the Temurah is like a case of a lost korban Pesach, which was replaced. So too, if it was available after, it was never pushed aside, then it could become a shlamim. Now Mishnah Zayin, hamafrish nekeva lepischo. Somebody separates a female animal for his Pesach. It has to be a male. O zacher ben shtei shanim, or a 2-year-old male after the first year. Now we know it has to be a little lamb or a little kid, either a sheep or a goat in the first year of life. So he's tried to make this his Pesach, so it has a degree of sanctity, but it can't be offered. It's not qualified to be Pesach. So Yireh ad sheyistoiv, it has to go out to pasture until it gets a mum, vayamacher, and sell this animal, vayiplu dama l'nedava, and the money for it goes to the Nedava fund, which they're going to use to bring gift offerings on the Mizbeach. And the Mishnah concludes, hamafrish pischa v'met, somebody got himself a korban Pesach, but then Nebuch, the owner, passed away. Lo yiv'enu b'no acharav l'shem Pesach. His son can't use that same exact animal for his korban Pesach. He can't inherit the korban Pesach. Elishem shlamim, but he can use it for a shlamim. Now the reason here is this animal that was a Pesach owned by one person, and the owner Nebuch passed away before Passover, so it became a Pesach that had no one manui, no one counted as part of the group. So if the person had multiple members on the Chabura, counted for this to be their korban Pesach, they could actually recycle, the other members of the group could recycle that korban Pesach and use it. So it's the case where there was no one else in the group and the only owner of this Pesach passed away. That's when it has to become a shlamim. It cannot be used for a Pesach. Good Chodesh and be well.